Oh shit. Well, I forgot the intro. Oh well. Ha.
Glass.
I mean, you
So,
could always play it.
I mean, I could
Epic
play it.
fail.
Well, it was totally intentional. It was an epic fail. So it works. Shut up. I wanted to do a cold open. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, so welcome to our a cool kids special stream. We are here to talk about epics and what defines an epic. And what I wanted to start out with before we really got into it was the history of epics from the beginning of the silent era to now. So when it comes to epics, it started out like kind of early on in like teens, 1910s to 1920s. What is like one of the oldest ones is Giovanni Pastroni's Cabiria, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and which kind of set the groundwork for the epic. And which ushered in D.W. Griffith's many films like Birth of a Nation and Intolerance. Whether you like those movies or not, those were what were classified as big epics, as well as the original Ten Commandments from Cecil B. DeMille back in 1921, too, if I remember correctly. So that's what it like kind of started out with, like the big epics, like these big like going like Intolerance was over the course of like many different periods, as well as Ten Commandments, many different periods of history. And then as time went on, we would get movies like Gone with the Wind, stuff like that would be again historicals, and it was kind of going through the line. And then we eventually hit the 50s and 60s, which was the biggest time for epics. It was what started with The Robe. That was like the big biblical epic. And then 50s and 60s, that's when like big, huge epics were like top tier. That the like constant like Cecil B. DeMille's remake of Ten Commandments, Robe, just Cleopatra is another big one, like stuff like that, ancient epics, and that was kind of what was popular for a while, and then they kind of diminished by the end of the 60s. As we all know, the studio system was dying at that point and was pretty much dead by the end of the 60s. And so with that, it was kind of, it wasn't like interesting to do these big budget ostentatious productions anymore, and it was all about gritty character dramas and indie films like what the 70s brought us. And then the epic kind of evolved into um blockbusters. Blockbusters were kind of the new epic because those were now the big production things. Well, they weren't as big as something like Lawrence of Arabia or something like that. They were still they were like given a lot of money behind big studios, all that. So that's what kind of became the new epic, was like stuff like Jaws and Star Wars and stuff like that. So that's what the epic kind of was. There were still plenty of other ones, like mainly big historical dramas like Out of Africa and stuff like that. And then once the 90s hit, you had stuff like English Patient and movies like that. And then as time went on, epics were kind of falling out a little bit because 90s was kind of another resurgence a little bit. And then we got to stuff like Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is like one of the last like truly great epics, because it's, J.R.R. Tolkien's epic magnum opus. So that's like kind of what it was. I would say Lord of the Rings kind of accidentally killed it because maybe it was just on the grounds of, hey, we can't get better than this. So that's what it kind of became. So, with this, uh, what is an epic? Obviously, I'm going through the history, but what exactly it? Well, it is defined as epic films are a style of filmmaking with large scale, sweeping scope and spectacle. The usage of the term has shifted over time, sometimes designating a film genre, and at other times simply synonymous with big budget filmmaking and stuff like that. So, what we wanted to talk about today was to talk about movies that are actually epics that we love, but also talk about what we consider talk about our favorite epics defined by the official terminology. And since I've been talking for way too long, Rob, you will start with your favorite epics. Movies that are classified you consider epics.
The movies that are classified as epics.
Yes.
How many do we need to go for?
Just like kind of like a general, just a general film, and then we'll discuss it.
Okay.
Kind of thing.
And you said ones that count as epics.
Yes.
Well, let's start with my favorite epic of all time, Princess Mononoke. So, because I honestly do consider this as like a big, grand kind of epic scale. It's about this warrior who gets cursed, and then he's having to seek up, and then he's having to seek within this other colony, which has, I mean, it honestly does feel like it's on a big epic scale, which honestly features like a lot of the mythology, and a lot of a grander scale. It's just such an amazing film. It's easily one of my favorite films of all time. Like the characters and all. Well, this is talk about epics, not I'm not discussing the movie itself. I'm sorry.
No, I think that's an interesting idea. What is everybody else's thoughts on Princess Mononoke? Would that be classified as an epic, or do you think it's not true to what it is? What is everyone else's thoughts?
I can see it.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting way, because it's like, I think animated films could usher in a new age of epics, because they can almost have carte blanche. It's just the only limit is your imagination. In terms of doing anything, that you could do something as big as possible. So I think Princess Mononoke is sort of like a great example, and Spirited Away, the more popular example. No offense, Rob, I know
That's fine.
it's your favorite, but Spirited Away is usually the go-to, and that is, I would say, that's also classified as an epic. Wouldn't you think so, Rob?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, in fact, a lot of Miyazaki's films can classify as epic. Yeah, and I mean, even I can even think of one Studio Ghibli film.
Welcome, Jay.
What's up, Jay?
Am I in a stream right now?
You are in a stream right now.
You are in a stream.
Too late. You're part of the stream now.
But I was going to say, I know one other Studio Ghibli film that's not by Miyazaki, that I'm pretty sure that maybe John might agree with me on. Zelda Princess Kaguya.
Yes,
would you say that?
I would agree with that, most definitely.
Yeah.
That is, that's definitely would be something that would be classified. It's kind of something I want to get into later, but it's almost like a personal epic. Like, it's like this long sort of life, but it's not like big and ostentatious like Mononoke or Spirited Away is. But I think that would be classified as definitely like a personal epic. What do you think? Devin, Mark, have you guys seen it? Okay.
I have not seen Princess Mononoke yet, so I can't.
Devin, let's go to you, because I know the ones you want to talk about we've all seen. So, sorry, before you start, Devin. Robert Storms is blowing up the chat. Hey, Robert, how's it going?
What's
Hey,
up, man?
What's up, man?
And he also mentioned the Clash of
Thanks, Rob.
Clash of the Titans. Another
Yeah.
anything by Ray
I was going to say
Harryhausen.
that one. I was going to say that one, Rob. I was going to say
Agreed.
that one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
man.
he brought it up. Yeah, I love that movie.
So sorry, Devin. Continue.
So I had to pull up my favorite movies list for this. Like some of my favorite movies that are classified as epics, the Lord of the Rings trilogy,
Mhm.
like perfect examples
Yeah.
of epics. Dances with Wolves, RRR, like those Seven Samurai.
Mm-hmm.
Those are absolutely epics because they fit the definition and the description of what classifies as an epic, from the large scale, the score, the storytelling. And this is an epic, even though it's not a historical movie. It still fits the qualifications. Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, that could
Oh,
be
yeah,
considered an
that,
epic.
yeah.
How that was.
Jay,
Yeah, epic
what is
rock.
your question?
What are we talking about right now?
We're defining we're defining the term epic in film. It's like big epics like Lord of the Rings. Like that would be like an epic. Like big spectacle epics kind of thing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But like it's like movies
hey,
that we'll consider epics, and like also defining the term and like how we discuss that.
So, like,
Yeah.
would Infinity War be an epic?
That could be considered an epic.
That could be, yeah.
Because I mean, as I mentioned before he showed up, blockbusters were kind of like the new epic in a way, because blockbusters came out during the late 70s. So, and epics were kind of dead by that point, like the big like biblical historical epics. So blockbusters in its own sense is kind of like the new epic. It's like superhero films are there was a great video, I forget who did it, I'm going to look it up soon, who did a great video, because there was a discussion for a few years that like superhero films are going to go the way of the Western, when it's like that was total bullshit. And a guy actually did a really great breakdown of that, how superhero films are more like the historical epics of the 50s and 60s, how they're sort of these big bombastic lavish productions. They'll get a lot of money behind it and going to, and all this other stuff. And now we're at a point where it's kind of dwindling, but it's unlike the end of the 60s. The plug has not been pulled yet, unfortunately. So we're kind of reaching that dwindling stage, kind of like the late 60s, as Mark mentioned in the private chat. Cleopatra pretty much killed it because of how fucking expensive it was at the time.
It really was great.
Thanks, Rob. Even if
Thank
you
you,
were
Rob, for
only
stopping
here
by.
for a
Thanks,
little
Rob,
bit.
for stopping by, man.
Thanks, man.
Thanks a lot.
And he also mentioned that Wolf of Wall Street was a great pick. So
Yeah.
yes.
I'll take that counts.
I mean, if you really think about it, like Jaws really did change like the definite, because like I watched this video about how like where the term blockbuster came from, and when Jaws came out, it was so revolutionary, it was so good that the lines literally extended past like blocks on the street and everything, and that's what the term blockbuster was coined, because Jaws and then Star Wars literally packed the block.
And that was like kind of like that was what it was for like the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Like not just that, but like you also had stuff like Towering Inferno, disaster films of the 70s and 90s. That kind of thing as well. Disaster movies, those could be classified as an epic. Most definitely during the 70s. That was fucking huge.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I did want to talk about a couple. Because I mentioned it, and I'm like, you know what? Let me just say it now. In terms of a personal epic, I would say The Northman is classified.
Oh yes,
it's not
absolutely.
Big,
yes, definitely.
The thing is, it's not like a big ostentatious production. It was only like 70 to 90 million, which is like mid-tier nowadays.
Yeah.
But it's classified as a personal epic for for this characters for the character of
Hamlet.
That
original
I like totally blanked. I was like Macbeth. Yeah. No, because I know it was ripped off because Shakespeare ripped it off. But yeah, it like this character is like going through this long perilous journey, but it's not like this huge spectacle. It's like this very tiny like colony of people, but it's like everything is meant. Everything is relying on this like vengeance that he's like. That's coursing through his veins, and that's like kind of what like like the personal epic, like it's this. I remember mentioning that in my review. The word like the personal epic is very much like that. So I think like Tale of Princess Kaguya and that would be that as well. Mark, what are some of your favorite epics that you wanted to talk about?
Oh man, I grew up a big fan of the Sword and Sandals epidemics. Sword and Sandals epics of the when I was a kid. I think I've told you guys before in the chat that ABC used to play the 10 Commandments, the 1956 version, the remake, Cecil B. DeMille's remake, and every year, every Easter. So I mean, we'd watch that shit every single Easter, and I never got tired of it either. I mean, it's just that it's a huge, big, epic film. It's amazing, I mean, it still holds up today. I mean, it's so it's a lot of fun. All the various ones on the life of Jesus, the Gospel according to St. Matthew, and all those. The Jesus King of Kings. The one with I think it was Jeffrey Hunter. So a lot of those, of course. There's Robert Storms mentioned Clash of Titans. Clash of Titans was a favorite of mine when I was a kid. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, like anything, like the 7 Voyages of Sinbad. Those could be that could be epic.
Jason and the Argonauts.
Jason and the Argonauts, like anything. That's why I wanted to kind of lump in biblical and ancient epics,
exactly.
Because ancient stuff, like BC, ancient mythology, Greek, Roman, that kind of thing, and I had the Northmen, and that was Norse.
So would 300 be an epic film?
I would say 300 is probably probably an epic film. Even the original movie that Frank Miller based the comic on, 300 Spartans, that was also an epic for its time.
Yeah.
And even though this isn't a movie that I love, it does meet a lot of the qualifications. I mean, Zach isn't here to back me up on it, but I'm sure you guys might agree. Titanic.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That has the historic, the period piece, the scale, and the epic score.
Exactly.
I mean, he built a 90% replica of the Titanic.
Right. I know, right? It did.
And then his later films. His films after that, the Avatar films, those are definitely epic.
Those are big epics.
Now, looking up the term epic, now I can add my 2 cents into like I would feel like not the prequels nor the sequels, fuck no, but I think like the original trilogy of Star Wars is considered to be an epic because it's literally a hero's journey.
I would say the prequels. I would include all of them. Well, no matter how bad the sequels are, they're still like. I would say the prequels, as much as I like the prequels, I'm not gonna include the prequels because it's more of like how a hero descends into like.
I disagree. I would say that's how. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was just going to say I disagree because this is really the overarching story is the fall of a democracy. How democracy becomes a
because the thing is what George Lucas managed to do with the CGI, like, because the whole like the spectacle of it, like now we see all these worlds, we get like urban and not just like desert planets. Oh, a snow planet. It does like as much as I love the original Star Wars. There's
the prequels are more epic.
Yeah.
I would just think that like the original trilogy is like the definition of a hero's journey. Like we see Luke go through like from like small beginnings.
It was this big, I swear.
Oh no, he's not again.
That's what she said.
The penis is this big.
Damn it, Mark! You beat me by 1 second. Oh no, that's how big the penis monster was, and Bo was afraid. By the way, Devin, you scarred me for life by showing me that picture. I will never. Every time I close my eyes, man, it's.
Don't want to
see that. I see that in my nightmares.
That could be a lot worse. And
Hey,
I also
oh, sorry, go on.
I also noticed like epics. A lot of epics are usually like biopics.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Like Malcolm X and Gandhi. Those are absolutely
those
epics.
are definitely
they are definitely epics.
Well, I mean, you know what?
What about 42?
What?
What about 42? Because 42, that's like, Jackie Robinson dealing with like racism and.
Oh yeah.
Like,
that's a good one. Jeez. Probably. Yeah.
If anyone is watching, John will be right back. His power went out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just give him a few.
Yeah, he'll be back.
So who is the second in command in this ship?
I guess me.
Well, we'll just. Yeah.
I was gonna say I was in the place, but
can everyone see me okay? Am I coming in okay?
You're fine.
You're
I see a floating head and a floating hand.
Am I okay?
You're fine.
Is my connection? Well, I just lost power.
Lost the power.
Epic power failure. Haha.
That's a Phantom song.
I don't know how long I can hold this up, but I'm gonna try my best. Just with everything, I don't know how long I can have this. But anyway, what was I talking about before? Sorry.
Star Wars, right?
You were talking about Star Wars.
I was talking about how like the prequels are, I would say the prequels are epic because, like, as Mark said, Fall of Democracy, the settings and all that. So yeah.
I think all of them.
I'm not gonna
all of them. Like Star Wars, I think Star Wars as a whole just counts as an epic.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a space opera.
An epic story.
It is.
It is, but the sequel trilogy fucks it up because they really.
They're bad. Doesn't mean they're not epics though.
It sucks.
Yeah,
I know. It's just that I feel like the best. I think the original trilogy really just it resonates as like literally the definition of a hero's journey. Like we see throughout all three movies, Luke's growth and him becoming basically the greatest hero in the galaxy. I know Anakin's the chosen one, and he's he has this great prophecy, but Luke really became like the living legend of Star. Like Luke is basically like the best Star Wars character.
Yeah.
Now he's not my favorite Star Wars character, but because of all the stuff that he's done in the original trilogy and the books and extended universe, Luke pretty much is like the greatest protagonist in I want to say. Do I want to say in fiction? Is he the greatest protagonist in fiction?
No.
One of?
He'd be up there. I mean, obviously, I'd put Anakin above Luke because Anakin has more of a huge character work. But as I was going to say that I would add Dune in there, and that brings up a good point that I want to bring up because sci-fi, even though epics have historically been defined as historical epics, as something from history, some big, huge tale from history, like Napoleon coming up, that's going to be an epic tale. Or Gladiator, even though that's not a true story, it's still, an epic tale. So one of the old, and Troy is another one. But
I was going to say,
that science fiction films have really kind of not wormed their way in, but have really taken on a lot of the qualities of epics. Big, huge scale. When you like Dune and Star Wars, really create an entire worlds.
Exactly.
Stories in whole galaxy. So.
And of course, and another one you probably could have mentioned, Mark, even though it's historically inaccurate, Braveheart. That's definitely a big epic.
A lot of epics. Very few films are historically accurate, But
the closest one I could think of is, I know this is doesn't count as an epic, but The Goodfellas is the closest to historically accurate. But that's a discussion for another time.
I would say, I would say Casino is an epic film. It's the rise, just like Wolf of Wall Street. It's the rise and fall of an empire, a business empire, or in this case, a criminal empire. Well, I guess Wolf of Wall Street is kind of too, but at the same time, it's still an empire.
Are we counting just movies or show? Can shows be like added into this, or is it just movies?
We're mainly talking about movies.
Okay, because like a movie that I was thinking, because if it was a show, I would have talked about a particular season of a show. But if movies, I mean, it's not now. This is not everyone's favorite of the trilogy, but I think that The Dark Knight Rises would be considered to be an epic. Basically, just if you think about it from the perspective of like Bruce in the aftermath of the Dark Knight, and him like, you know, taking the, like, you know, put him back on the cape and everything, and, you know, giving his life for Gotham one last time, and basically letting the, you know, dying as like a, you know, as a symbol of hope for, you know, because at the end of the day, that's what Bruce wanted Batman to be, a symbol for, like, you know, the people of Gotham to like rise up and stand against the, you know, the oppression of.
I think you have a good point, because
You do.
Would you guys say that? Would you guys say Blade Runner would be an epic?
I wish I saw Blade Runner because I want to watch those movies.
it's
Or would you say that was just pure science fiction?
I don't know. That's kind of a gray area. So I would say it's more pure science fiction.
That's right.
Indiana Jones?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, Indiana Jones, definitely, because, I mean, you're going to different locations all over the world. I mean, globe-trotting, searching for treasure. Yeah. Sure.
I know Rob and Mark will agree on this one. I mean, it's classified as an epic. RRR.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
RRR is
absolutely.
absolutely an epic. That fits the definition. Even though that one's not completely historically accurate,
Absolutely.
it still counts.
And speaking of foreign films, a lot of Akira Kurosawa's films. You mentioned Seven
Samurai. Yes.
Throne of Blood. I mean, which is based on
absolutely.
Yes.
Throne of Blood
Yes, that is true.
Mm-hmm.
Did anyone mention The Lion King?
I'd say that's an epic film.
The Lion King
I mean,
basically is just
based on
Hamlet.
Hamlet, but yeah, I mean, Jesus, yeah, that's pretty epic film, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's Hamlet but with animals.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, isn't Throne of Blood also
Macbeth.
like Hamlet?
Macbeth.
And the Northman?
It's actually Macbeth. It's actually Macbeth.
Macbeth.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
We hear you, though. It's not going to tell them, but you're fine.
Yeah, you're fine, man.
I wish I can use.
Can you guys hear me okay, or am I not
We
No,
hear you.
coming in?
We hear you fine, man.
Good. Yeah. Another one that you mentioned animated films earlier, Rob.
Hello?
Yeah.
Even though I haven't seen it, Prince of Egypt.
Prince of Egypt. Yes, definitely.
Absolutely.
I don't really know what to do right now. Yeah, this is awkward. Because, of course, my power had to shut down right fucking now.
Yeah.
Is everything like good outside? Like, or like, is it?
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
Yeah, the rate. I know it was like raining a lot earlier, but in my area, it calmed down like a little bit.
I mean,
it's kind of.
I know it was raining and it was a little wet and it was windy pretty much today, and it was a little bit yesterday too. I don't know if it was in your area, Mark.
It's kind of shit.
It was. Yeah. Like another one of Kurosawa's films, Ron. Even though I haven't seen it, I understand. From what I understand,
I still need to see Ron. I still need to see that movie.
I think a lot of the qualities of epics, especially like historical epics, like you have big, huge set piece battles. You know.
Yeah.
So I mean, stuff like that. Like Braveheart has that in spades.
Braveheart, yes.
What about how about King Kong? Both the original and the Peter Jackson version.
Wow, that's a good
That
question.
is a good one.
That's a good question. Jeez. I don't know. I think that's kind of stretching it a bit, but I mean, I think it's a good point.
I mean, it's. I mean, how epic can you get with just a gorilla? You know, with a I don't know, just being in love with a woman, I guess. That's basically, you could dub that down to a gorilla falls in love with a human woman and dies because of it.
And
Kill the beast.
And this is a more recent movie, and it's historical. Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's definitely an epic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oppenheimer was such a good movie.
Kind of. If you're
Oppenheimer's
talking
phenomenal.
about biopic,
Oppenheimer's fantastic.
I have one, and Mark, you might like. I wouldn't be surprised if you if you don't agree with me, but Man of Steel. I think Man of Steel is an epic. I really consider that to be an epic because of because just think about it's like the story with Kal-El and him, learning to I just feel like that, and plus it's just the score,
that's
it has
a good
an
point.
epic score and everything, and
I think Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League fits the bill better, but that's a good point about Man of Steel. Yeah, good point. Maybe the 3-hour the Ultimate Edition of BBS, but yeah, you got a good point about Man of Steel. When you have you going from Krypton and everything to Earth. Yeah, fantastic film. Love it.
And I don't ever see these movies as considered epics, but I have always have. If we're already jumping into that, one is Amadeus.
Oh yeah,
I think Amadeus counts as an epic, and it's never considered one. It's just pure and piece biographical film. But with the epic score, the period piece setting, and the way it's shot and the way it looks and the acting, that is absolutely an epic. And my other one is Coppola's Dracula. You don't see a lot of epics you don't see a lot of horror movies that are considered epics, and I think that is absolutely an epic.
I agree. It is. Yeah, that is. He did such a good job on that. And there are a bunch of others. There's 1917, Dunkirk.
Guys, John sent to the chat that he's going to try to get it back in at the 45-minute mark.
Yeah, that's because I was listening to his voice recording while you guys were talking, and he said that he's going to try to get back in by the time we get to the 45-minute mark. So he said, just us keep talking, and then he'll try to see if he can get back in.
Oh,
or he just got back in. Never mind. Well, never mind.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Yeah, look good.
Okay.
Hi, I'm John. Welcome
You guys are kind of coming in, kind of not. I'm outside right now. I'm probably looking like a fucking maniac right now.
It looks. It looks pretty cloudy over there. So
I have no idea what's gonna happen. I'm probably just not gonna host the rest of the time. You guys will just do what you can. I'll try to send you guys my account info, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I'm probably just.
It's all right, man.
Yeah, we can't control the weather.
Yeah, it's not even raining anymore. How the fuck I lost power is beyond me.
That's happened to me before.
Great pile of shit this turned out to be, huh?
It happens. Shit happens.
Shit happens, man. What can you say?
Worst comes to the best happens. Said it best.
Yep.
It happens. It happens.
Are you? So you're not able to end the stream on your phone?
I can't. Hang on.
Okay. Because I was gonna say, does he just want to just end it now?
Well, look. Speaking of which, I just brought up one. Forrest Gump. That's an epic.
Oh yeah, that does count as epic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I just thought of I thought of another one, and Devin, I know you don't like this movie, but 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah, that is absolutely.
Hey, I give you one. I know you guys love this one. Gangs of New York.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Good, the Bad, and the
Gangs of
Ugly?
New York.
Oh yeah, Good, the Bad, the Ugly. Absolutely.
The Good,
The
Bad.
Harry-
Oh God,
the-
yeah. Speaking of
The
westerns,
Harry Potter series.
yeah, I'd say that counts.
Yeah.
I'd say that counts. This as a series as a whole, yeah, it's pretty. Yeah.
I can't
Even
think
though
of one
would say
particular movie.
another Mel Gibson film besides Braveheart that would count. Maybe one he directed anyway. Apocalypto.
I thought you were going to say The Patriot.
I thought you were going to say
The
Patriot
Patriot
too.
could count too. Yeah, the Patriot too. The Patriot and Apocalypto. So yeah.
And
Saving
I just-
Private
and I-
Ryan.
And I just thought of another one that could count as an epic that was also made by Mel Gibson. I know that no one here is religious, but Passion of the Christ, that technically
Yeah.
counts, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'd say that would count.
What about Saving Private Ryan?
I'd say that as just
Yeah,
being
yeah,
just a war
yeah.
movie.
I don't know. I'd say that pretty much counts, especially with D-Day. Jesus.
Yeah.
The battles alone, I think, make that an epic film.
I mean, this movie is not good, but that definitely fits the qualification of an epic. Babylon.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
the
that's
movie
true.
that just came out last year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not good.
Hey,
it's
Devin.
not. It's not
but it
good.
Hey,
counts.
Devin. One you just saw recently. Once Upon a Time in the West.
Yep, absolutely.
Hell yeah. That's a badass. Man, you hear that whistling, dude? You best just start running, man.
Oh yeah, you heard that fucking whistling? It's on.
You hear that fucking whistling, man? Oh my god, just go, just start running, man. That's it. Just shoot yourself and get it over with, man. But yeah, that's a great film. That's a great film. That's a great western. Giant, another film. Spartacus was another old favorite of mine. Jesus, The Last Emperor.
Absolutely, The Last Emperor.
Oh, yeah,
Gladiator.
Oh yeah.
that's a great film. Oh God, that's heartbreaking. Jeez. The Bridge Over the River Kwai. Speaking of World War II films.
Mm-hmm.
I will have my vengeance.
John.
I'm glad someone else brought up Last Emperor.
Yes, I love Last Emperor.
I
love
wasn't
Last
expecting it to be that good.
Is
It really
everything
is.
else-
It's
is
a
everything else-
really good film.
Yeah,
And they
I'm
do a
kind of
really
going
great
in now.
job.
Sorry, my dad was calling.
okay. Do you want to just go ahead and just end the stream? Like I don't know if you can from your phone. So,
Uh-oh.
oh, he froze again.
Yeah. Sorry, folks.
Well,
We
all
cannot
right.
we can't control the weather.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties.
Weather is not on our side
Kids are
today.
experiencing technical difficulties right now.
For some reason, Storm has a vendetta against John. For some reason.
Exactly. Here's one. I don't know if anybody else has seen this. There's a couple of others. There's Dr. Zhivago. That's really good. That's damn good.
Mhm.
And there's
What's it called?
Reds. Dr. Zhivago.
Dr. Zhivago?
Dr. Zhivago. Zhivaghe. It's with oh God, what's his name? I forget. Great film. 1965, 3 hours. It's set during the Russian Revolution. Speaking of films set during the Russian Revolution, Reds, Warren Beatty. That's another what I'd classify as an epic film. So, Oh, speaking of epics, if you want epics, there's the 8-hour Soviet version of War and Peace. That really made
Mark.
Hollywood, yeah.
I just thought of another epic that we reviewed this last year. Would you say The Woman King counts as an epic?
I'd say that counts. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty much a traditional epic. Yeah,
Because I was going through my head on all the things that we reviewed, and I was thinking about that that we reviewed last year that you hosted.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Ben-Hur was like my favorite as a kid. Ben-Hur and Spartacus were just probably my two favorites as a kid. Dear God,
Lord,
I love that.
guys,
I still say,
Guys,
what's up?
Lawrence of Arabia.
Oh
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Lawrence of Arabia.
I
Jesus,
thought we already mentioned that though. But
I
okay.
don't think we did.
I thought John mentioned it. I thought John mentioned it before.
Yeah, he did. He did. Yeah, he briefly mentioned it. Yeah. But yeah, it was really Cleopatra that killed the epic. I think he has a good point. It's kind of the blockbuster kind of took its place. And I think sci-fi and fantasy films kind of took on many of the qualities of epics. So I mean, you get like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. I would say a big quality of epics. It's like of course you had the large scale production, the many different and everything, the large scope, the sweeping scope. But I think of it as like world building. Any film. Like, that's why I included Harry Potter, because you got a lot of world building in those films. I think like Harry Potter, Star Wars. I think a lot of your franchise count as that.
That's why like I was mentioning like at the beginning of the stream, like Miyazaki's films, because a lot of his movies are like do have that big epic scale. And I mean, I did mention Princess Mononoke and Tale Princess Kaguya. There was also Spirited Away, Nausicaa, Valley of the Wind, Castle in the Sky, and I would probably even go as far as say maybe the Wind Rises could count. And I feel like that's right up your alley, Mark, since you're a big history guy.
Absolutely. I think a trend I noticed with a lot of like epics, like earlier ones, is they would always open with an overture and an intermission.
Yeah.
Because like I know like a lot of them do that. Like Gone with the Wind had it, Ben-Hur had it.
They did, yes.
Lawrence of Arabia, Seven Samurai.
Yeah, they did.
I think even Gandhi had it.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me, but whenever I see that in a movie, I just automatically skip it. I'm like, intermission, skip. Oh look, overture, skip. But just take me to the movie. It's one thing to have that when there's no physical media yet, but I'm like come on. I was
gonna say Devin can sit through an 8-hour epic and hold his pee for that long.
Jesus Christ, Devin.
I would say
I don't have an iron bladder.
I'm joking with you, right?
Because if I want to do an intermission, I can just do an intermission. I can do this. Remote. Pause.
Yeah, I have the weakest bladder. Like sometimes I can hold it for like 2 hours. Sometimes I can't, and sometimes when I can't, it pisses me off because I have to go to the bathroom at the best part of the movie.
Oh, I just thought of another epic, and I'm pretty sure that that Jay and Devin will pretty much be ecstatic that I bring this up. The Batman. The Batman counts. I would say the Batman counts as an epic.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I'd have to think about that one.
I mean, the man is literally learning. Like, the man learns throughout the film that vengeance is not the answer, and that he has to be something more. He has to be more of like a. He has to give people hope instead of fear, because literally throughout the entire film, everyone's afraid of Batman. Even Selena Kyle was afraid of Batman when he went crazy on one of the Riddler's lackeys, and then
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no,
no. I mean, you were saying he's like when he went off on the lackeys and stuff. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm just I think you could argue that superhero films are a kind of epic film because I mean they do have that kind of large life quality. Now because they try to keep them so grounded now, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I think that's just kind of the style. But I mean, I think like before, like Tim Burton's Batman, that was really had like a surreal, larger than life quality to it. I mean, so and Superman, the original Superman the movie. So I mean. The original Superman, the movie, that's an epic. It starts with Krypton, which has this very Shakespearean vibe. Then it comes to Smallville, which has a very Norman Rockwellian vibe. And then you get to Metropolis, which has a very kind of modern vibe. So, I mean, that's a really epic tale. Speaking of Man of Steel. But
all right, guys, I don't mean to cut you off, but John texted he still wants us to end it at the 45-minute mark. So I figure we should start wrapping it up.
Let's wrap it up. Our thoughts.
If anyone came in to watch the stream, thank you.
Thank you very much.
And
thank you very much.
Maybe the next special stream we do. Hopefully the weather will be on our side. Anyway, thank you. Subscribe to our channel.
Thank you to our
subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to our individual channels. And hey, Rob, does Beau is Afraid count as an epic?
It counts as an epic failure.
God.
Damn straight.
Oh.
All right.
All right.
Thank you all for watching, and see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Come on, John. I don't want to keep leaving. Come on.
Jazz hands.
Wax on, wax off.
Sign the floor. Sign the floor.
How do we end it without John? I mean, he still needs to turn it off. So.